not to be? That is the question. That is the question.
We're doing this. It's happening. This is happening. What's exciting about it? There's a couple of other channels, people that I've seen on other channels, Facebook and YouTube and so forth, and other websites, and especially, of course, Occupy Wall Street. Oh, it's an alarm, right?
A sea of troubles.
Anyway, the Occupy Wall Street and Tucson and Occupy everywhere, man, they're still going, and it's getting cold, and it's fantastic. And then the cops, of course, doing the pepper spray on everybody as if that's going to make it better. But maybe the cops do want to, like, the system that owns the cops and the uniform reality has a vested interest in perpetuating the Occupy meme and movement as it's manifesting itself in the forms of people in parks, because maybe it has an instinctive sense that serves its interest. But then again, maybe not. You know, maybe it is making mistakes and empowering people to do that. But then it's an activism. And activism doesn't mean there's a reflectingism, a meditationism. So here's what I want to say. I want to say from now, which is November 22nd, 2011, till, let's say, March 22nd, 2012, right? That's the first day of spring. That's November to December, December to January, January, February to March, right? Something like that. That's 4 months, okay? 4 months. 4 months, whoever you are, if you really are into the whole change, well, whatever you're into, if it's an active thing, if you're an actively engaged person, either in working to maintain the status quo and support and follow, whether it's Newt Gingrich or, you know, Herman Cain or Mitt Romney or whatever it is on the right wing, and you profess to have a belief in Jesus or what have not, or you're an activist who feels that things are wrong and there's an injustice and there's oppression and and so you're going to fight it and da-da-da-da-da. Well, both sides of those spectrums, you got 4 months, easy, cheesy peasy, that you could do the read. You could do the read in these 4 months. You got nothing better to do. Stop watching frickin' Dancing with Stars for once. Just shut the whole retarded waste of time entertainment complex for a second. Stop giving them your money to take your time away so that you can be left on the judgment day going, la, 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 la. If you're an atheist, okay, if you're an atheist, this is a scientific proposition. We're not talking about an abstraction. We're talking about a redefinition. We're talking about God 2.0. Okay, we're not talking about God, Zeus, you know, voodoo, beard, chugga, and Moses said, and this and that. There's an internal logic, a coherent thing, and it's very simple. There is found material, just like the cosmos, just like matter, just like you train your eye on it. Here is something that, rather than follow the lead of what the religious people are saying, is understanding that here is the subject matter at hand. It is clear that no religion can substantiate its claims to authority without the tacit understanding that these books and scriptures underlie that. If you read them in truth on their own terms and come to your own conclusion, you will be in exactly the same position as the highest and mightiest, the Pope, whatever, the Lutheran hoo-ha, the Mormon doodah, you know what I'm saying? To be in a position of authority. But in the attempt, which I totally understand, to like get rid of it and kill it, it's a reactive, infantile, and the thing is, these are found documents. These are part and parcel of even science. Science emerges out of that developmental process. So it's very simple. It's a sequential, chronological, historical unfoldment, just like it would have been in biology or Lamarck or any of the Courvoisier or Harvey's circulation of blood or whatever it is. You know, you don't get to super subatomic gluon particle physics all of a sudden overnight from Pythagoras or whoever the hell, Archimedes with the Archimedes screw, you know? So same here. It's the same thing. It's just telling you that this is what it is. So my big hope is that among the atheists, there's enough clarity, enough removing of the rubble of the old understandings that something very quickly and simply could be erected there in the mind and in the heart. Now, it may be that among religious believers, you know, the shaking has to happen there. All the things, all the end time images, all the memes and symbols that are embedded, whether it's in the Jewish text, that's for the Jews. If it's in the Gospels, that's for the Christians. Christians read it as if it's for somebody else. But no, that hell is your hell. The Lord has decreed that that's for you. That's why it's there. That's why you're reading it. Richard Dawkins doesn't need your hell. He's got nothing to do with it. Leave him alone. For the Muslims, that those hells in there. Now, for the Muslims, that's a different story. Okay. Right. Okay. Anyway, so the thing is, got from November till March. In the northern hemisphere where it's cold, where there's really nothing else to do, where there's long dark nights, to actually recite and intone these verses, to find 6 days, 60 hours more or less. You could do it faster. You could do it as fast as you want. Like I said in the first video, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, and the earth was without form and void, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light, and blah, blah, blah. And you're reading it, and you're getting that groove. You can do it, especially when it goes through the names, and he begat this one, and this begat the blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but the point is, without doing that, all I can say is that it's one less. Okay, people will make the case for all kinds of things, and the Democrats this, and the Republicans that, and if we did this with the budget, and if someone, you order this now, you whatever. This, what I'm telling you, it's it's so obvious. It is so right there. There's nothing I can take from you because it's a Bible and it's a Quran and you get it yourself, and you got to spend some time, whatever, make a freaking effort, right? Then it's just clear. Those texts are those texts. You read them. You process them on your terms. Boom. That's it. Don't have to believe anything different. You just do it. Now, if you want to do it, if you don't want to do it, then you don't want to. You don't want to. I don't want to. Here's the story. This is the story. There's a guy. He's on a boat, all right? And he's got a gold brick in his hand. And he's in the boat. He's so happy he's got a gold brick. And it's his gold brick. It's his gold brick. And then all of a sudden something happens. He falls off the side of the boat. And he's starting to drown. And he's screaming, "Help, help, I'm drowning, I'm drowning." And the people around are too far away. They can't do anything. They can't whatever. So they said, let go of the gold brick. And he's like, no, help me, save me. And he won't let go of the gold brick. And he goes down. And he goes down, clutching that gold brick in his hand. This gold brick is the illusory ideas we've had since we were children that give us our sense of value or give us our sense of worth, whether it's innate worth because of an overblown sense of identification with something or other, or whether it's conversely a sense of worth based on the denigration of others that comes from whatever the worldview is. The most common thing is these religiously derived so-called worldviews. And this is what it's time for the end of. It's the end of the world, the end of these world views, because they're called world views. They're not real views, they're world views. The real view is, I'm 49, I'm getting a little bit fat, little bummed up. There's no need for that, that was rather traumatizing. Sorry, but that's the whole thing. You're there, you're where you are. And that's been okay, but this is about using this media for a short time. Things have their time. Monarchy had its time. Religious structures had their time. Once they've gone past their time, they're not only useless, they're bad. They're bad. It becomes toxic, and that's where we are. And it's nothing personal. It's not to say the Catholic Church, for instance, was ever always bad. No. The Catholic Church, if it wasn't for the Catholic Church, every one of you, doesn't make a difference whether you believe or don't believe, whether you're Muslim, Jewish, or whatever. Without this Catholic Church, praise the Lord for the existence of the Catholic Church. You go back, you look at the history and what it did. Now, then there was the Dark Ages. Certainly there was the Dark Ages. And while it had its Dark Ages, Islam emerged from where it emerged as part of another progressive cycle. And it clashed and it did what it did. And if you go back and you look at the history, you see there is this interactive dynamic that happens, and there's up and there's down and there's cycles. And so this is the end of this is a time that's had its end. Okay, so these worldviews, they're all done. A little bit of a distraction there.
To be or not to be, to be or not to be, that is the question. That is the question.
Right. So what do you think you're doing? You think you're trying to educate people or something like that? Is that what you're doing, Mr. Man? Or you being Mr. Smarty Farty? Is that what it is? You think you know something, you want to tell people that they should do and what they should do? I wish you'd stop doing that. I wish you'd stop doing that. What? You think you run the show? You think all of a sudden you're going to hijack this? You think you're going to hijack it? I'm going to stop smoking. Darn it, why do I say that? I want to stop smoking. I want to eat better. I want to be more engaged.
To be or not to be, to be or not to be.
Okay, there's a point.
That is the question.
Oh yeah. Oh, I was talking to the Muslims.
That is the question.
Yeah, so I was having visions in sleeping, and so they're not visions. They're like, you know, dreams. And when you daydream, I mean, those are visions too. And I think what happens is if you read Julian Jaynes' Origin of Consciousness and whatever, you'll see that when it gets to like the Book of Revelation and those kind of visions, that what we do now on a daily basis for most people, where you have daydream periods of time where you have little images and whatever ideas, it's kind of normative, because for the last 1,000 years we've been filled with all kinds of input and metaphor and images and experiences, and especially in this society we've seen. We have a lot of stuff to work with in the art of the subconscious, whereas 2,000 years ago there wasn't very much. So I don't think people had much going on in their their daydream condition. So very early, very exciting was these visions that prophets and seers would have, and you know, we look at them now and go, what the heck, but that was then. And so everything has its time, and so everything is in its place, and etc. So in this particular time here, those three texts,
to be or not to be, to be
which was clearer in the dream,
to be,
their images and visions.
That is the question.
The story plays itself out the way it plays itself out. Certain things must happen. There was the will of God, contemporaneous with the King James Version of the Bible. That will of God is William Shakespeare. I am Will. And in Islam, you hear you've heard of like imams and ayatollahs and mullahs and that sort. They have all kind of honorifics for everybody. That's an honorific, which, by the way, we'll get to you guys. You guys are so jacked. So Sheikh was one. Sheikh is a particular honorific. So William Shakespeare in the 1600s there in England, between the King James Version of the Bible and William Shakespeare's work, English experienced essentially what Arabic and Hebrew experienced in its times. It was a guttural, disconnected language which all of a sudden congealed itself in these texts, which then raised it up, and then it manifested itself throughout the world with great power and wonder, much to people's chagrin. Now, what happens?
Not to be or not to be, that is the question. That is the question. To be or not to be.